Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. She is the author of the book Dark Obsession, no other than Miss Sequoia Blue. Welcome to Book
Hello.
101, Miss Sequoia. And can you please
Yeah.
introduce more about yourself?
Hey, everybody. My name is Siquoyia Blue, and I'm an IT analyst. I'm a singer songwriter, and I'm an author. And I've been an author now for a long time, like over 10 years. And this book here on the screen, Dark Obsession, I wrote this a long time ago. I was like 21, 22. And now I got a new version out of it that came out about 3 years ago. Now it's called Dark Obsession by Sequoia Blue. And it's just it's a romance novel.
It's a romance novel indeed. And thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And tell us, Miss Sequoia, what inspired you to write Dark Obsession?
So it's a crazy story. I was working at the airport. I was 20 years old, and I remember just watching people go on the planes and stuff. And I just always wondered what their life would be like, because when you're young, you're like, man, I'm ever going to get to travel. I'm ever going to get to do certain things. And I remember seeing this lady get off the plane, and I thought that she was so like glamorous and just had this perfect life that anybody would want. She was so pretty. And so somehow I created a story around her. Like it was like, what could her life be like? But also everybody has a downside. So what could be the downside? So that's when I wrote Dark Obsession. And the original title was A Woman's Chocolate Appetite Equals Enslavement. But then I changed the title, like I said, 2, 3 years ago after I got it re-edited. And basically it's like a thriller romance. And I just always think that even though somebody's life could look so perfect and stuff, they could have something dark going on. And around the time I was reading Paulo Coelho and Walter Mosley and Eric Jerome Dickey. And so I was so inspired by their writing that it just forced me to write Dark Obsession. So that's how it started.
Mm. Interesting indeed. And how would you describe the core theme or message of Dark Obsession to someone who is not read yet?
Well, Dark Obsession is about a lawyer who is the high life lawyer in Atlanta. She got it going on. She got the car. She got the money, and she's just so attractive. And she's married to this guy that's also doing well in life, but he's just not the right person for her. But she likes to keep the look. She wants to keep that air of, hey, I got it made. My life is great. But when she meets a new lawyer that comes in, that joins the firm, Mykell, she ends up turning into a different person. She ends up realizing a lot about herself, and it goes into a little bit of a thriller once she meets Mykell. So I think that this is a story about how someone's life can change in the blink of an eye because of a person. And so it's not the typical romance novel. There's some thrills, there's some ups and downs. It's not always a happy ending in life. Let's put it this way.
True, not every time we have happy ending. And
Yes.
thank you for sharing the truth, but nothing but the truth. Miss Sequoia, can you tell us about the main characters and what drives their obsession in the story?
Well, with India, basically she's the main character, and Mykell Hope, which is the love interest. Basically, India is in this identity crisis situation where she wants to be successful, but at the same time she doesn't want to be who she doesn't want to be. She wants to have kids, and the husband that she's married to doesn't want kids, and there's certain things that she wants, and she's just not getting it. And then she also learns about life and about living, and she meets different people in the story, and so she becomes, I guess you could say, curious. And meeting Mykell Hope, which is the new attorney that just joined the firm, he kind of opens that book for her, and he's sort of mysterious. He's mystique. It's almost like a little magic about him. There's something magical about him. So it's a little bit of fantasy in there, like a little silver line of fantasy. And so it turns into that type of situation. And Mykell Hope, he knows who he is. He's confident. He has everything that anybody could want in a man. And it's like, ooh, where he come from? His mother is different, and she just gets enamored with him in his life. And Mykell is just someone that's even kiltered and basically was able to lead a life that he wanted to actually live. And so when he meets India, it was like the icing on the top of his cake, and he wanted to kind of save her in his own way, and India wanted to kind of be saved. So it worked out.
Yes. Wow, it worked out indeed.
Was a
And
twist to
how
it.
the twists and turns. So how did you go
Yes.
up? How did you go about creating the atmosphere or tone that makes the dark aspect of the title come alive?
Well, I guess it starts when she starts getting involved with Mykell and really starting to get to know him. He seems kind of odd. He has some, because he's just so perfect almost. And it's like, what's going on? And so it kind of turns, she gets real obsessed with Mykell, like really obsessed. And then you start to realize they're kind of obsessed with each other, but but I guess you could say in the middle of the story, India gets so enamored by him to the point where it kind of comes off dark, and it can take over you spiritually, because sometimes I do believe in spiritual situations where somebody's spirit could be so strong they just take over your spirit. So that's how it gets kind of dark. I'm not going to go too much in detail. I don't want to ruin the book, but that's when the dark comes in.
Spoilers.
And that's why, yeah, I don't want to say too much, but that's how it gets dark.
And what was the most challenging part of writing Dark Obsession, and how did you overcome it?
Woo, I mean, the most challenging part is that I've never been an author. I read books and I had stories in my mind, but I was a singer all my life, as far as like underground singer. And so that was the creative side of me. And so I didn't think, well, writing a book, huh? And I needed a way to release my creative juices. So because I couldn't afford studio time at 20, I was young and I had a computer. So it was like, man, do I need an editor, or can people just understand what I'm saying? What I've learned is that you do need an editor, especially when you're young, you don't know. And I think that was the most challenging situation, was that people was like, oh, you need an editor for this or that. There's just certain things you just didn't know. Um, and that's why I had to get it edited by an expert later on. And let me not say I didn't have an editor. I did have an editor, but the editor just wasn't that good. So it just didn't help the book. But when I was able to find the right one, I was able to rebrand the book and put it back out there. Now it flows and it makes sense. So I think that's one thing I've learned, is to make sure you have the right editor. Don't go cheap. Sometimes you just got to get the right person that can do the job so you can make sure everything is the way it needs to be. So that's one of the things, one of the challenges. Another challenge is just making sure that, the flow of the story makes sense, making sure, because sometimes for me, writing is spiritual. So it could just flow from, higher power or source. So you just got to make sure that everything is cohesive and stuff like that. And the editor helps with that. So, but that was the most challenging.
Challenging part of writing
Mm-hmm.
Obsession. And
Mm-hmm.
were there any personal experiences or emotions that influenced the narrative or character development?
Well, I think the I don't know if anything personal, because I think in my mind I thought that I wanted to live this high life and be on the planes and have a great life traveling, because that's where I was working at and that's what I saw at the time. And I thought that that was the life I wanted. And so it was kind of like I was living my life through her in the book. You want this perfect guy, that's handsome and has mystique and knows who he is and all these things. So it was kind of like I was living through India in the story.
Wow, interesting
Yeah.
indeed,
Hmm.
Miss
Yes.
Siquoia. And how do you decide on the setting for the story, and how does it contribute to the overall mood?
Let's see. So the setting of the story, I was in Atlanta. I grew up. I spent my 20s in Atlanta, so it was always these certain type of restaurants that was popular, like a steak restaurant called Houston's is one of the most prestigious restaurants out there. And I used to always say like, oh, it's cool to just go there and be able to just sit at the bar to look cool. Cause back then, I just didn't have money to go to Houston's like that at 20 years old, it was one of those things where I wanted her to go meet up with her friends at Houston's, the main character, India, because it was kind of like this symbol of success and feeling free to just go get a little meal and have a drink of Chardonnay with your girl and your girls and talk to them about your issues and stuff. So it was like that was one of the settings. And of course a nice house. India had a really nice house, and so did Mykell and stuff. So it just this gave this vibe of that Atlanta prestige, those nice big houses in the woods, those vibes that Atlanta provides, in Georgia. So that's how I kind of came up with the setting, is giving that prestige of freedom and that will to live that lifestyle, you know?
Yes, indeed. And
Yeah.
what role does conflict play in driving the plot of Dark Obsession? How did you craft those tensions?
Um, Conflict. Well, it's crazy because it kind of, like I said, just came to me, like spiritually. It just came to me, the whole story, because I knew this was a woman that I was living through, but at the same time, I knew that people in life have conflicts, and even if I don't want to believe, at the time, you think everybody's perfect, but they're not. And so it's kind of like, how can this person have so many issues? Like, okay, do I want to stay with my husband? What do I do? How do I do this? How do I live my life the way I want to live it? And that's where the conflict starts. It's like when someone questions their reality, like during COVID, when people started questioning their reality, saying, well, I get to, stay at home. I want to stay at home now. They realize they can see the tree, they can see the dog. Whereas when people were working so much before COVID, they couldn't see nothing. It was just, you just going on emotion. So for India, it was like that moment where she could see exactly that she wasn't where she needed to be. And that's when that conflict initially starts. And I think that's important to bring out into the world, is that being self-aware, no matter what age you find it at, is imperative to changing your situation. And so that's why I had to put that in the story. And it came, like I said, it came to me naturally, but that it resonates to this day, that you have to be self-aware and take ownership of knowing that I'm not where I want to be. What do I need to do to get there? And that's important.
Were there any real world events like books or media that shape your approach to writing this book?
I would say Airdrome Dickey, rest in peace. He passed away from a heart attack at 50 years old. I think it was last year, a year ago. But I started reading a lot of his books. I probably say when I was like 17. It was him and Paulo Coelho. But Airdrome Dickey bought this side of me out, because he was always writing books about, conflict and assassins and love and all these things that I thought was interesting. I said, this guy's good. And so some of his writing scheme, his angles just pushed me to really, I guess, tap into that detailedness. Because one thing about Eric Jerome Dickey, he was very detailed about the character. So the way the person moved, the way their hand looked, the way their face looked, it taught me a lot about writing, and I was impressed. So at that time, it just pushed me to, okay, let me write this book. And he kind of inspired me to write it a certain way. And I think that was an amazing thing. And also, I'm a movie person. I'm a movie buff. I watch movies all the time. So a lot of times you get ideas from movies. Like people say movies or TV is a waste of time. Not for a creative, not for a creative. You do learn a lot from movies and stuff, and it stays in your mind, and you create this thrill. And it's all like combination of watching a thriller movie, because that's what the book is. It's pretty much a thriller romance, and then reading books from thriller novelists like Eric Jerome Dickey and stuff like that. I mean, it bought out Dark Obsession. It created the monster.
Miss Sequoia, as an author,
Yeah.
what are your short term and long term goals?
For being an author, um, I think for me the short term goal is to definitely push the books a little bit more. I feel like I kind of put it on the back burner so much, and I think that's life because you're working and jobs get in the way of things. But I definitely told myself, just like how India told herself, is that you have to start, if you want to change something, you have to start changing things. So that's why I'm starting to do interviews and stuff to get the books out there, get Dark Obsession out there. Also, my children's book, Sammy Bean, and I'm also going to start. I'm going to submit to some libraries, and I am going to be working on my new SequoiaBlue.com website where I'll be selling the books, promoting it. But yeah, that's the short term. The long term is to put out my other book, which is a compilation of short stories. I don't know the title yet for it because I just got to get a vibe. But once my editor, I'm working with my editor soon to get that done. So by the end of the year, that could be coming out. But I want to get that done and just really put 100% in it. Just push it, get these books out there, and make time to write. Make time to write some more books. I mean, I'm older now, so I feel like my journey, my pen game is going to be a lot stronger than what it was when I was younger. So I'm really excited about writing something new.
Good luck to your goals, Miss Koya, and looking forward for more success. And
Yes.
what is your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be an author like you?
Um, I would say just do it. Write something every day. I know a lot of people right now are going through a lot going on in the world. But write something every day, even if it's just something small, because it all pieces together. And just believe in yourself. Get a good editor, even if you're a good editor. Just always get a good editor to back you up, someone that you can trust, and just understand marketing. Make sure you put it out there because nothing moves if you don't move. You have to do the work to get the book out there and market it and research on how to do that. And enjoy the journey because life is short. Enjoy the journey and know that once you put it out there, that is a success in itself, but also continue to spread the word.
Yes, and thank you for your advice, Miss
Welcome.
Sequoia. And can you please recommend a books that influence your journey or book that influence your journey?
So I think The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho um it has influenced my journey. That was one of my favorite books. Veronica Has to Die by Paulo Coelho was inspiring. Um I can't remember all the titles for Eric Jerome Dickey's books. I think it was Media Noche, a few of those titles. Trying to think about who Walter Mosley. I think it's called Touched Her. It's I can't remember the title of it, but those books inspired my journey to be where I'm at now because like I said, they all are different type of authors, Paul Coelho's different. He's more of a spiritual life coach type energy type author. And then you have Walter Mosley, the deep um author that changes, he also can jump to sci-fi, he can jump to the everyday man. Um and then you have Eric Jerome Dickey, the assassin type writer, the but mixed with the romance and the thriller. It's definitely different. And then some of the other authors I really like, Octavia Butler, and how she can mix sci-fi with thrillers and stuff like that. Because I think the Parables of the Sawyer was the recent book I read by Octavia Butler, and she's definitely inspired me to continue to write and put out different stories and stuff. And so those are the authors that have inspired me and continue to inspire me. So I'm excited to do more great things.
Yes, and looking forward for all those great things, Miss Sequoia. And how do you think Dark Obsession fits into our stands out? Oh, yes, fits into or stands out from other books in its genre. And thank you for your recommendations.
Oh, you're welcome. I think that Dark Obsession stands out because it's not typical. Like it's definitely out of the box. And I call myself an out of the box person, whether it's music, tech, anything I do is just out of the box. But the book is definitely different. It's a different swing on things. I think that it's a romance, but it's also a twist to it. So it's not just a typical romance. It's not just a typical love story. It's a lot of twists, and it makes you think about life. It makes you think about where you are in life. And it's also just interesting because it might spark something in you and it might scare you. So so I think that's what makes it different, you know. And it's spiritually led, like, and I mean spiritually led by, like, you just feel drawn to do something, and sometimes you don't know where it came from, but you feel drawn, and so stuff like that.
Were there any characters in Dark Obsession that surprise you or evolve in unexpected ways during writing?
I think Mykell Hope, he evolved because I almost didn't know which way I was gonna go with him, but it turned into a different type of situation. I'm trying not to give away the book, but it turned into something different than what I thought he was gonna be. Somehow I just there's a lot of books I've read, like by Carl Reber, all these different authors, Omar Tyree, all these different authors, and it turned out to be like, okay, a love story, typical, okay, situation, but it just didn't turn. Mykell Hope, it just turned into something else that I thought it was going to be, and I think it's interesting that it turned into something that he turned into someone else, and surprises you, and I like that because I don't want everything to be predictable all the time. I like a twist.
Twists and turns, indeed.
Yes, yes.
What was your writing
Because
process like for this book? Did you outline extensively or let the story unfold organically?
well, you know what? I just let it unfold organically because it just it just came to me. Like I just kept writing and I just kept writing as it came to me. And at the time I was working at the airport, it wasn't a job that took a lot of my brain's, power, So when I got home from work, it was just writing. It just came to me. I didn't outline anything. It just flowed, And of course you might change a line here or two, but it just flowed naturally. And I was shocked, to that I was able to do that. I didn't think I was, like I said, I didn't think I was an author. And it just came to me naturally. It's interesting. So I think it's cool how some authors are, writing and doing outline stuff. I think that's cool too. That's a different way. But I think some people, it just flows too, and then you bite off that and you grow with that. And so that's what happened with my process.
Definitely. And before we wrap up our discussion, Miss Sequoia, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101
Oh,
review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well.
oh.
Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in the third
Mm,
season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in its fourth season,
mm.
and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them
Oh
wherever
wow,
you listen your podcast. Miss
definitely.
Sequoia, yes, and thank you. What's
Congrats on that.
next? Yes. And what's next for you as a writer? Any plans for a sequel or new projects related to the themes in Dark Obsession?
Yeah, I mean, no sequel to Dark Obsession, but yeah, I have, a compilation of short stories I'm working on. So probably by the end of the year that will be out, and I will be working on that. So that's what's next. And like I said, submitting this book to libraries so people can read it and learn about me and stuff like that. And but yeah, that's what's coming next for me by the end of the year is really just pushing it more and getting into libraries and just promoting it the best way I can so everybody can get the word.
Yes, indeed. Miss Sequoia Blue, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to
Thank
the
you.
world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support Dark Obsession or any projects that you're doing because you are musicians? What else you are doing right now?
Yeah, so yeah, definitely check out Dark Obsession. Also check out my children's book Sammy Bean. That's also available on Amazon. And just check out my new song "Whiskey" that's on all streaming platforms. It's very avant-garde, out of the box. So my first
Yes.
single that
Cheering
I
squad for
produced.
you.
So yeah.
Awesome,
Thank
awesome,
you.
awesome. Can you be my guest on Music 101 and let's talk about your music then?
Yeah, definitely. That'd be cool. Yeah, I would like that.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Siquoyia Blue because if you support her, for sure, more and more and more empowering books to come, more and more empowering music to come, and for sure, more and more empowering advocacy to come. So, Miss Siquoyia, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank
More to
you.
come,
Thank you
people.
so much.
Yes, more to come, people. See you soon.